Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, I'm recording.
Oh, of course. All right, welcome to the lesson of albumin with Kenny. All right, so albumin's normal lab values are 3.5 to 5.0 grams per deciliter. Don't get this confused with potassium because it's the same numbers, but different labels. Units, same thing. Sorry if you can't see it, it's kind of a light color, but one big thing with albumin is it's going to maintain colloidal osmotic pressure, and it's going to transport important blood constituents, drugs, hormones, and enzymes. So colloidal osmotic pressure is going to be the pressure within the blood vessel. So you have the hydrostatic pressure that is outside of the blood vessel, and it's going to push, as towards osmotic, which is inside the blood vessel, is going to pull, but colloidal is a type of osmotic pressure that has to do mainly with albumin. So albumin also is important because it transports those blood constituents, the drugs, the hormones, enzymes. Blood constituents is important as well because a lot of calcium binds with albumin because calcium has a role with clotting. So if albumin is low, we may not be getting enough albumin and clotting particles to the calcium to do its job. So with albumin, it's going to be synthesized in the liver, so it's going to be made in your liver. It also is a measure of your nutrition, so if you have the edema, I wrote it here, if you have edema, you can get that third spacing. It's not where you're really gaining the weight, it's just the fluid it's so much fluid inside that eventually it goes outside of that area. So you will see a lot of people in different kinds of countries that can have those really big bellies and skinny little arms and legs, and that's the edema. So with edema, you don't have albumin because albumin is considered a water magnet. It loves water. So if it doesn't have enough, then it's not going to be able to do what it needs to do. And then if you have too much, then you can run into the edema. So albumin will pull it in because it wants all of that. It wants to keep pressure. It doesn't like to be alone. So you can think albumin wants its buddy, water. So if a patient has edema, that means they don't really have the albumin. So they'll get the albumin. It's like it's liquid gold is what they'll call it in hospitals. So with that, I drew a little arrow because I forgot to write it down. It's going to be paired with a diuretic because if you give too much albumin to a patient, they're going to have too much water. Too much water can do too much damage. We want to even it out, but we don't want to dehydrate our patient. Be careful. Decreased albumin levels can be liver failure or burns. Liver failure because it's synthesized in the liver. So if we're not producing enough albumin, then there's got to be something going on with the liver, within the liver. Burns because we have...
Hey, albumin, do you live here? Or do you live there? I'm so sorry.
Burns because with burns you will normally have that edema. Okay, so with an increased albumin, it's probably due to insulin or an increase in your growth hormone or too much, because insulin will stimulate that liver and increase your albumin. It stimulates the liver to make more albumin. And then the growth hormone has to do with sugar. So not really totally sugar, but one part of the growth hormone is it helps make that glucose. So if we have too much glucose and we're making too much sugar, then we're going to need more insulin, and then that's going to also increase our albumin. And then 60% of total protein is albumin. Thank you for coming to my lesson with Kenny, and come back to the next episode.